I'm Heather.
And our topic was, what do we buy? So today we're going to go over why do we buy the products that we do, how companies market to us, and also some of the current trends in the market. So to start off, we're going to do a game.
So we have an activity. You guys have probably seen something like this before, but this is a logo that you've probably seen. So can anyone tell me what that logo is?
Harley
Davidson. All right, so next slide. Can anyone tell me who this is? Good job. Okay, so if we were doing this with probably younger kids, they might get the first one, but they're not likely to get the second one because they see Harley Davidson probably more on an everyday basis than they do Abraham Lincoln.
So for the next one, how about we just have one person answer for both of them? So somebody wants to volunteer to answer this one? Yes?
McDonald's.
Okay, and now you have to guess what the next picture is. It's okay if you don't know it.
Yeah, I don't know it.
No, does anybody know what that is? It's a tree, yes, behind it.
I don't understand. Wow.
Buckeye tree. Okay,
All right.
next person.
This was a little tricky because it could be one of two things. But what do you guys think it is? Ford. All right. Good. It could have also been Carrier. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but yeah. Okay. So Ford. And then what is it? Me? Yeah.
Well, it's a cardinal.
Cardinal. Good. Okay. And then the cardinal obviously is the state bird of Ohio. Which typically you guys learn in grade school, but again, more people would have known what the Ford symbol was than what the eye of a cardinal looks like.
Next person. Yes?
Miley Cyrus.
Good job.
President, I don't even know.
Hey, you got the president right. Close.
I was going to guess
It's the fifth president. It's James Monroe.
So again, that's someone that,
super
probably very important. He was one of the presidents, but less people know that than know who Miley Cyrus is right now.
And the reason that we did that was just kind of to show you guys how brands are, you just see them all the time, so that's why you know them so well, as opposed to like knowing the fifth president of the United States.
All right, so have any of you guys seen the movie Super Size Me? Okay, everybody has. All right, so in this video, it's a clip from Super Size Me where Morgan Spurlock, the main guy in the entire thing doing the study, where he interrogates, is the word that the video used, interrogates kids, and he shows them pictures of famous people, famous things, and then shows them pictures of brands, and they know the brands over the famous people. So this is kind of where we got the basis for our activity, so we're going to watch that.
You to tell me who they are.
Okay.
Who's that? You don't know?
George Washington.
Yeah? Who is he?
He was the fourth president. He freed the slaves. And he could never tell a lie.
Who's that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. George W. Bush?
No, that's a good guess, though. Who is this?
I don't know. Vanilla? I forgot the name, but I think I know.
Yeah? Where have you seen her?
That picture's only fine. Wendy.
Nice. Who's that?
McDonald. Ronald McDonald.
Who is it?
McDonald.
What does he do?
He was helping people at the cancer register. He works at McDonald's. I love the pancakes and coffee. He brings every of his friends to McDonald's for a Happy Meal.
Where have you seen him?
On television, on the commercials. He's the character that made McDonald. And he does a lot of funny stuff on TV.
Okay, so as you can see in that video, that kids know more about the brands they see every day. They know who Ronald McDonald is, they know who Wendy is, but they couldn't tell you who Jesus Christ was. So that was kind of our point when we did this brand game here.
And now we're going to have you do a discussion at your tables So with the people at your table, we would like you to talk amongst yourself for just a few minutes. And the question you have to answer is, or talk about is, does the children's reactions surprise you? And then once you guys are done talking about it, discussing it, one person from each table will kind of speak for their group and tell like what you guys talked about. So go ahead. Yep.
That's so sad. Like, obviously, even if you don't know,
George Washington, just from the picture. When I was that age, like, I probably wouldn't know Jesus Christ. I might have known like, who he was. They didn't like really like they showed the pictures in church.
I mean, like, and how many people
Everything that they gave us.
He should, because he goes to youth group every day.
So who would like to speak first for their group? Yeah.
Well, we were surprised that just like it showed like where the kids are around and like what they see a lot and how quick their answers were for like the fast food things.
And how it took them a while to get, I mean,
Yeah.
even if they did get it for like the president or like something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
What other group would like to? Yeah.
We were just saying, like, kind of surprised you, like, they may not know who, like, George Washington was, and I take a pretty typical picture of him. But, like, with Jesus Christ, I kind of understand that, because, like, when I was that age, it's like, I might have known who he was, so I may not know what he looked like, because, like, at church, they don't necessarily show you a picture of him.
Yeah.
But it just shows how much TV has an impact on them, because they all
And that's
knew
what we're going to talk about.
exactly who Ronald was, even though they some of them knew who Wendy was, but they more knew who Ronald was, because he's on all the commercials.
We kind of talked about that. I'm more really surprised by the reactions, and also felt like it might depend on where you are in the country about what the reactions would be. Because, like, when I was growing up, I went to church every Sunday, so I would recognize Jesus, but some other people might not.
Okay, good job. All right.
We haven't gone to all the tables.
Oh, we want to do all of them?
I don't know. Okay, I
Do you
guess
guys want to? Do you guys want to?
No, it's good.
no. Sorry.
All right. Okay, so that takes us to our next point, and we're going to talk about brand exposure. One big type of brand exposure is product placement. Typically, you will see product placement mostly in movies and TV shows. It's also called embedded marketing, so if you ever hear embedded marketing, it's another word for product placement. And most of the time, product placement can be subliminal or it can be very obvious. I mean, I don't know, do you guys have any examples of when you've seen product placement in like a movie or TV show and it's just like, really? Like, you just put that in there? Yeah.
I was watching like Transformers, the movie, and they show like the cars. It's like I think it's like GMC or something.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, it's just like right out in
Yeah.
front and it's just very obvious. And a lot of product placement is also not so obvious, but we still see it, we just don't really make connections to it. And in like,
There's some movies like maybe in like a teenager's bedroom, there's a cluttered desk, but you'll see an empty bottle of Coke or something.
Yeah.
And you don't really know, like you don't really notice it because there's so much other clutter, but it's there. So.
And one type of product placement, and I think someone said it or they said something about it a couple of days ago. It's digital product placement. They did it for their paper. Basically, what that is companies will go back through old TV shows and they'll digitally place products into like an old TV show like Friends. So if you really look hard enough while you're watching Friends, which is over 10 years old, you'll see products that they're making today. So, I mean, the reason that they do that is because Friends is still really popular. I mean, who doesn't love Friends? And the stations that play those TV shows, they still need to make money. So they have companies put their advertisements in shows still, so they make revenue from them. And how effective do you think that product placement is on you? Do you guys think that it really sways your decisions in purchasing certain things? Yeah.
I
I think for like the Coca-Cola, Pepsi, I feel like I don't know why, but I just buy Coke. Like I never bought Pepsi.
Me too.
So I
Yeah.
guess.
And that very well could be due to product placement. Does anybody else say anything? No? Okay. Do you feel as if you notice product placement most of the time? Like you catch it a lot of the time, or you feel like you don't catch it a lot of the time?
I know I don't. People will be like, oh, see that Coke bottle? And I'm like, no. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like on a lot of shows we'll use like a laptop and it's
Mhm.
clearly an Apple product.
Yeah.
Even though it might have a pear on it to make it that
Yeah.
much different. It's
But
still
you
a
can
metal
tell,
case, you know it's Apple.
Yeah.
Or an iPhone.
Like a Big Bang Theory, they always have like different drinks or whatever. It's like Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed like on there's like a specific like car commercial. I think it's like for like a renting a car, like a enterprise type thing. But like there's like this woman who is clearly driving. It looks just like a Ford Fusion, looks everything like it.
Yeah.
But the label is taken like,
Yeah.
off of it. You know, it's like okay, everybody knows what car.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but you know, majority of people know what that is. But
People would be paying attention to that commercial would know what it is.
yeah, right.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about the third point on the slide. That you are typically exposed to 3,000 to 10,000 brands per day. And I actually did a little bit of a calculation. If you actually were exposed to 10,000 brands per day, and you were awake for 18 hours every day, because you have to sleep at some point, who knows, maybe you're exposed to stuff when you sleep. But if you put it down to an hourly rate, it's 555 exposures per hour. And yeah, so that's a lot. Significant. And the reason that we don't even notice that a lot of time is because we've learned to tune it out. Because if we didn't tune out all of the brand exposures that we see, then we would go crazy. I mean, that's all you would notice all the time. And also, a lot of celebrities endorse products. So that's really obvious. I mean, they're like Tiger Woods and Nike Golf.
Michael Phelps has some.
Yeah. And common exposures. So even in everyday life, you're exposed to brands. Typically, cars, you'll notice like the brands on cars, on clothes, like North Face jackets, and technology, Apple products, PCs, and also food. So like Cheez-Its, good stuff like that.
Alright, so we have another activity for you guys to do at your table. We're going to pretend you're walking down Worcester Street because it's not pouring down rain or anything. It's a really nice 70s spring day, alright? You're walking down Worcester Street and you start at Campbell Hill Road, and if any of you guys know where that is, it's right by the Stroh Center. So you're going to start at Campbell Hill Road, you're going to walk down Main Street. So on a piece of paper, I want you guys to list as many businesses, brands, and logos, like common ones that you see on your walk on Worcester from Campbell Hill to Main Street.
From Campbell to Main.
All the way from Campbell Hill Road to like downtown with
All right.
Hold on.
Oh wait, Starbucks.
Yeah, there's a Starbucks.
Oh yeah.
You better have. So there's a Starbucks. No, keep writing. Keep going.
And you guys have 4 minutes to do it, so get as many down as you can.
Oh, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo, you have Mills are up.
McDonald's. Oh yeah. Burger King.
Yeah.
What's that cleaner place?
Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen, Miles,
Taco Bell's on.
Taco Bell, and then you have the ATM machine.
Circle K.
Subway.
SPX.
Oh yeah.
Circle K.
It's right
Oh,
beside
Jazz.
Verizon.
Yeah, Jazz. What is that ice?
Oh, there's one.
What's the one
Was
pizza
it
place
that-
on the other side?
Insomnia
Oh,
cookies.
Insomnia.
Insomnia.
Well, there's Peter, but there's like Domino's or like Domino's.
Peter
Bread.
Oh yeah, Subway, pita,
That's not
SPX,
reference.
train.
What about Borders?
It's right there.
What?
Oh, there's another place store.
Taco Bell. Yeah.
What's the ice cream place called? Cold Stone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
When I was here.
Yeah, for cruise.
Wendy's is there.
What's the yes, that's it.
Alright, you guys, you have 1 minute left.
Ooh, let's go.
Somebody should have signed.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
It's just
Jed's.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah, that's what what is that?
is that
McDonald's.
there is
Name wise,
you're talking about
Place,
like
yeah, name
below
wise,
that we were talking about.
Oh, there's a
my
church.
livelihood.
Is that church?
You're the first
I see
time.
that shirt sign.
Insomnia.
It was really funny when they were building on the
First
You
mountain.
put Revs on there, Reverends?
First mountain.
There's an army recruitment.
It's a
Put the pump in.
20 seconds.
There's an army recruitment that's on the corner of
I was there
Main.
yesterday.
There's an electrical pay.
You put ads for like,
Let's just tell everyone that I have it.
So make sure you
Greenbrier.
Greenbrier.
I've traveled this road.
Alright,
nice job, guys.
so let's go through and count how many you have and we'll see which group had the most. Thirty-one? 25?
27.
27?
I don't want to talk about
36.
Ooh.
Alright,
Dude, my family lives in Billings. I am like here all the time.
we didn't get all of them, we kind of listed like the main, like the big names, not just like
Big white. Oh,
or
yeah. So here's the
It's okay.
Were there some big ones that you see on here that you guys, overlooked?
Big boys.
Big ones?
I forgot.
I know. Alright, so here, just on the walk, I mean, you guys had 36.
Yeah.
Just on your walk from Campbell Hill to Main Street, you have at least 36 different things that you are, like different brands, businesses that you're exposed to on that 4 or 5 block walk. That's probably more than that. But anyway, so that was our point, that you are exposed to all of these just on a normal day at any given time. You're outside, you see these all the time.
Okay, and that takes us to our next point. So the reason that we really stress brand exposure was because that's how companies get you to buy their products in the first place. When companies are able to do that, they'll use a marketing strategy called data mining. And this basically gives companies your information, your buying and spending habits, and we'll look at the definition on the next slide, but I just want to give a real quick example of how they use data mining to advertise specifically to you. If everyone here has Facebook, you know, like how on the side of the web page, they'll have advertisements that will have just like looked at a product on a previous web page, and then you'll go to Facebook, you'll refresh the page, and then there will be an advertisement for what you just looked at. So that's just an example of data mining, and then Heather's going to explain the definition.
All right, so this is the definition, word for word, of what I got from Investopedia.com. And this says, a process used by companies to turn raw data into useful information by using software to look for patterns in large batches of data. Businesses can learn more about their customers and develop more effective marketing strategies, as well as increase sales and decrease costs. Data mining depends on effective data collection and warehousing, as well as computer processing. So that was a really long, detailed definition of what data mining is. So now we're kind of going to discuss like the little bits and pieces of that and give you a different view on it a little bit later. Alright, so one thing one strategy that companies use for data mining is loyalty cards. Places like Kroger, Giant Eagle, CVS, you can get a Kroger card, you can get a CVS card, you can get a Giant Eagle card. And then when you purchase items, you scan your Kroger card or your CVS card or your Giant Eagle card. And then, especially for Kroger, something that I learned about Kroger is not every item in the store has 2 different prices. So usually it'll be like, okay, well, if you're a Kroger Plus member, you'll get this price, but if you're not, then you get this price. But not every product in the store has that. Some products only have that one price. The products that have the 2 prices are the most common products purchased by Kroger Plus members. So they're using the information gathered by scanning your Kroger card to determine what they need to put on sale and when. For CVS, for example, I don't know if you guys have CVS cards. I do because I shop there all the time, which is probably really bad. That's okay. But when you go into CVS, there's this red kiosk, and you can scan your CVS card, and it'll print off coupons. And those coupons are items that you've previously purchased. So it keeps that information and gives you coupons based on what you've already previously done. And then for Giant Eagle and Kroger both, they give you the fuel perk, so you buy more Kroger Plus or Giant Eagle brand stuff, you get more money on your Kroger card or your Giant Eagle card, and then you buy gas. So every time you use that Kroger card, they're just gathering more and more information from your purchases.
The next type of data mining that's employed by companies is through the use of cookies.
Not the cookies.
Yeah, that sounds really funny. And they're typically called browser cookies. They can also go by the name of web or HTTP cookies. And what they are, they're little bits of data that are transferred between your browser and the internet servers of companies' websites that you're visiting. And what they do is they store information for the company, stuff like what you would put in your shopping cart if you were shopping online. Page views, so they know what products you're looking at of theirs. And then they in turn use that to advertise those products to you. And the really interesting fact that I found about these cookies were that companies will keep them for months and years. So typically you would think that that would be like a bit of information they would keep for maybe a couple days or a couple weeks. But they know that you viewed that specific product on their website on a certain date 3 years ago. And they're going to try to advertise that to you any way they can. Could anybody tell me some potential security concerns with cookies? Yeah.
Identity?
Yeah, definitely. Because cookies can store passwords that you enter. So a big concern is for consumers is, for example, like credit card companies. If you use your password for like a credit card company or something like that, or online banking, cookies can be hacked by people. And also just general privacy concerns, because if companies can track whatever you're doing, it just makes you feel a little bit uneasy and stuff like that.
Me? Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so another way companies use data mining is by looking at previous purchases, like phone apps. You buy an app, you go back to your app store 2 days later, and it's like, we have suggested apps based on your previous purchases. So they, like he was just saying, they keep that in the back of their little data mining mind that you've previously purchased these items, or like things on Amazon. You go back to Amazon, you previously purchased this, other people who purchased this also purchased this. So it gives you like suggested things based on your previous buying experiences.
Okay, so now we have a short video for you. Just a little bit of background about this video. It was made by a business that's trying to get other businesses to employ data mining for their marketing strategies. And the reason I put this on here was typically you would see a lot of videos in a class like this from a consumer's perspective. So we thought it would be interesting to give you a perspective from the business side when business is employed.
You've got great marketing ideas, but traditional marketing is just too hit or miss. No matter how great the product or promotion, customers just don't seem interested. But how can you blame them? As consumers, we're bombarded by offers on the internet, mobile devices, direct mail, everywhere. And we've learned to tune it all out. Why? Because as marketers, we tend to treat all customers the same, when they're not. So how do we win their attention? Well, instead of blasting every potential buyer with the same marketing offer, you analyze the heaps of data you've collected about your customers. Demographics, like their age, gender, or zip code. Their behaviors, where they clicked on your website, what products they've purchased, how much they spent in each of the past 3 months, to find patterns that help you predict the right offers for the right customers. It's called predictive analytics, and it works. The problem with traditional marketing is that you have to blast a wide audience to reach all of your potential customers. With predictive analytics, you can target a fraction of the people and get nearly 100% of the results. So why isn't every business using predictive analytics? Because in the past, it took months to build just one predictive model. It was rocket science, with PhDs in statistics and teams of people in IT, data management, and marketing. But today, customers demand that we personalize every interaction, on the phone, online, by email, even social media, and our competitors can launch new offers on the web in clicks. For most companies, predictive analytics was simply out of the question. It was a lot like taking pictures 20 years ago. If you knew how to adjust all the dials, pick the right lens, lighting, and shutter speed, you could capture a nice shot. But if you took too long, your picture was gone. Today, cameras are point and click, and predictive analytics can be too, letting you build all the models you need to optimize every customer interaction, putting the right offer in front of the right customer at the right time.
Okay, so what did you guys think about that video? Did you like that it was from a different perspective other than a consumer's perspective? Yeah.
Did it make more sense than the long, wordy definition I gave earlier?
All right, now we are going to talk about some of the current trends in the market. Since our topic was, what do we buy? We figured we would go over some of the things that consumers are buying. And one big trend that's really obvious is the environmental trend. There's a big green movement going on right now. Consumers are starting to care more about the environment, and they want to buy products that show that they care. One of the big things is green energy. A lot of there's so many different types of green energy nowadays: wind, solar, geothermal, water. Oh, yeah. And a really good example of this is, I don't know if a lot of you will know it, but I'm a PG townie. So just outside of town, we have 4 big windmills, and they obviously produce power. The power company allows consumers of the power in BG to choose if they want to get their power from the windmills. So consumers can choose if they want to purchase clean energy. Another big product right now is green household products. So mostly what you're talking about with that is cleaning supplies and food. And a lot of mainstream companies are moving towards green products because that's what consumers are asking for. For example, Clorox and Johnson & Johnson, they both have green product lines now. And also, back to Kroger, they have their own store brand, and they recently just made an entire store brand for organic products and environmentally friendly products. They have meat, dairy, dry foods, everything. They have it in every department. Yep.
Kind of going on with his household products, even if the products aren't itself green, a lot of companies are now going to made with completely recycled plastic or stuff like that, kind of going towards that green movement. Another one we talked about was green cars, like the hybrids or completely electric cars now. I looked at the top five most energy efficient, or top 5 greenest cars of 2013. There were 2 Hondas, 1 Fiat, 1 Nissan, and 1 Mitsubishi. and all of them got 115 miles per gallon or better. That was the minimum, was 115 miles per gallon of gas. So those green cars, they cost higher up front, like you're gonna pay more up front, but if you're only having to put, if $10 will fill your gas tank and that will last you, a month and a half or so, then in the long run, it'll even out. You'll be spending less on gas later because you're getting like my new car I just got, it's 18 miles to the gallon. That's very depressing because my old car was like 25. So like I'm going to pay more for gas now, but these people buying the hybrid cars, they're not going to pay nearly as much in the long run for gas than I am because they can get 10 times as much gas per gallon than I can. So, or miles per gallon than I can.
Okay, the next trend that we're going to talk about is the internet.
Yeah, so the online movement. We can basically do everything online. Like, you can shop online, you can basically do anything online, but like, obviously physical things you do want to do, drive a car, ride a bike, walk, talk, whatever. So, I looked at music downloads. There are more people downloading music off the internet than going to a prime retail store like Walmart or Target to buy, CDs or whatever. It's all online. You can do it online, and it'll automatically be put into your iTunes or your Microsoft or whatever you guys use. And so I was looking at some things from the recent years. In 2011, Bruno Mars' "Just the Way You Are" was the #1 most downloaded song in America, or in the world, with over 12.5 million downloads, legal downloads. I don't know how much illegal downloads. These are all legal downloads. So 12.5 million legal downloads of the one song. That was total. There was an 11% increase in music downloads from 2010 to 2011, and the top 10 songs of 2011 accounted for 82 million song downloads. From 10 songs, you got 82 million legal online downloads. So, and then online would include, iTunes. You now have Amazon. You can do music downloads, and you have your own little library thing through Amazon, or anywhere else you can legally purchase things that you can download instantly to your computer. So, and that doesn't even account for the people who did go out and actually buy these CDs, which is a lot lower than when we were growing up. We couldn't download them online. We had to go to the store and get the cassette tape or the DVD or the CD, where now you can get it on the internet.
And a big part of the internet movement and the online movement is just the convenience factor in it. Consumers want convenience. They prefer to do it online as opposed to having to go out and do it physically. Bricks and clicks, it's out of our textbook. Basically what it means is companies will have physical locations, and then they'll also have websites where you can purchase things and stuff like that. And a lot of companies, it's a slim minority of companies that don't have websites anymore that you can purchase from. Even if you have a company that doesn't have a website you can purchase things from, typically they will have a website that advertises their business, like to get information from them and stuff like that. And another example is online bill payments. You no longer have to put money in the mail or a check in the mail and wait for it to get cashed, and or you don't have to go to a physical location to pay bills. And that's just the convenience factor. Once again, people don't want to have to wait to have the money taken out of their account. It's a lot quicker. And then another trend is, this is more of an overarching theme, kind of goes along with the environmental trend. Consumers want to make sure they're buying from companies that are ethical. They want their companies to be transparent. They want to know what their companies that they support are doing to the planet, to their workers. They want to make sure that their workers are being treated fairly. A good example of that is this past holiday season. A lot of people were up in arms about big corporate companies making their employees work on holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. And They also want to make sure that another part of treating employees fairly is paying workers enough. A lot of people will support businesses like Trader Joe's because they pay all of their workers I think it's like $11 or $12 an hour. So they choose to go there instead of like Walmart or something where they pay minimum wage. And that's transparency.
Alright, so another thing we looked at was electronics in general. More people are out buying, laptop computers rather than desktops, or they have how many different tablets now, and smartphones especially. I was looking at Verizon.com. That's who my family goes through, so that's my number one go-to. Just smartphones, they had over 30 different smartphone options. So they could have been, the same brand, but it's a different phone. Each phone has different options, different features. So 30 different phones were offered through, just through Verizon. So imagine all of the cell phone retailers, how many different smartphone options you could get. So another thing we kind of talked about this earlier, how data mining is used when you're buying in smartphones. You buy apps and they look at your previous apps and suggest new apps. So we kind of talked about that earlier. And then for those apps or smartphone improvements, they look at customer reviews and how they like the product, and then they can use their customers' opinions in trying to improve the product to get more satisfaction from their customers.
Okay, this will be a quick one. We're going to have you guys do the same thing where you guys talk amongst yourself and talk about any trends that you know of right now that we weren't able to cover.
And this can go from large scale or specific products, like whatever you guys. Okay, go.
I would say
I know it's Shark Tank.
yeah, for sure.
And there are cupcake shops all over the place. Yeah, I saw an episode of Shark Tank, and the people, the business people, they didn't want to go through the business because there's so much in the market, right? Right.
I've lived in a small town, so mine's very small. There's literally 2 main streets, and that's it.
Yeah,
That is big.
right.
It's Lake and Wolf. You need to get anywhere. I don't know what any other trends.
What about the trend where, I'm not saying this, there are 3 guys here, but I've noticed that there are a lot more guys in more formal situations with kind of not a formal beard like yours, David, but more of a scruffy look. Well, no, not a full beard. It's just kind of, it looks like, well, you didn't shave today. But job interviews,
Oh, yeah.
And I think, whoa, that's different. That's not part of the rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys wouldn't know this, but no hose, no pantyhose, and interviews. Yeah, nobody wears them anymore. So,
You guys ready?
Even wiped off the face.
right?
Was like leggings.
That was huge. Yeah, exactly.
So let's get started. Who wants
Tights.
to share something that they have come up with?
We're kind of with the clothes route, we were like leggings, scarves, scaries,
Yeah. Very cool. Anyone else?
I mean, I guess it's kind of piggybacking off the green idea, like how can food options, and you give them any like McDonald's.
Yeah.
You can get apples instead of fries, and get grilled chicken instead of fried.
You get milk and cereal.
Right.
Yeah.
the gluten-free diet. That's a new diet.
Yeah. True.
Mine's kind of off there too, but like for frozen yogurt, people would get me
Instead of ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Anybody else have anything?
It's always
see, you hear a lot of people doing the like challenges, like to get the Get Fit challenges and stuff, like with Shakeology and you know, Insanity and
Shake weight.
Let's not talk about that.
No, but they, you know, like there's like now we're kind of coming into like a more like healthy and fit type of a trend. If you will. There's a lot of people.
I mean, you wouldn't have seen half of those type of healthy fitness things 50 years ago. You know?
Like you had the Simmons guy, like
yeah,
that's what you had.
Yeah.
Like workout gear is like really in. Like everyone wants like Lululemon or like Under Armour stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge Lululemon.
All right. So, in conclusion, consumers are becoming more aware of how companies market to them. Data mining is becoming a lot more known among consumers nowadays, because information is so accessible. And consumers want more transparency. They want companies to care about the planet, care about those people that they employ. Consumers are becoming more conscious and aware of their own activity. That goes along with environmental products. They want to make sure that they have a clean conscience and they're buying products that are not harming the earth or anyone else. Companies are catering more to the consumer. None of these trends would be happening unless consumers were making it happen. If companies don't adapt to consumers once, then they'll go out of business because another company will be more than willing to adapt to consumer needs. And that data mining is used by companies to track buying and spending habits. Do you have anything else?
I think so.
Well, that's our presentation. Thank you.
There's our work done.
All right.
Good job.
Good job.
Nice work, team.